When it comes to Tesla's stock, it's usually the latest Model 3 production data that dictates much of its trading, which is why the company's release, expected early next month, will be so important for shareholders deciding what to do going forward. But the derivatives team at JPMorgan doesn't think investors should let it get to that, and it has an idea for how they can brace for the worst ahead of time. After all, even Tesla's CEO, Elon Musk, has labeled the Model 3 situation production hell, suggesting traders would be well advised to keep their wits about them. At the core of JPMorgan's Tesla recommendation is the idea that the company's stock has little to gain from reporting an in-line number or even one that beats estimates, and an outsized amount to lose in the event of a disappointing number. Sean Quigg, an equity derivatives strategist at JPMorgan said, "We believe the market may be underpricing the potential significance of the Model 3 production release, which we expect in early April. We see greater reward risk in positioning for a downside move." Also informing JPMorgan's suggested options trade is what it describes as a kink in Tesla's term structure, or the slope of implied volatility expectations. As the chart below shows, there's minimal expectation of price swings in April, which the firm says has created this prime opportunity. So onward with the trade recommendation, JPMorgan says investors should sell April May calendar put spreads, which involves buying April puts and selling those expiring in May, both with a strike price of $300. The maximum profit for investors will be the premium collected, as long as the trade is closed at April expiry. Further, JPMorgan also recommends unwinding both legs of the trade at or before expiration in April. With all this in mind, Quigg and company are following the lead set by Ryan Brinkman, the JPMorgan analyst who covers Tesla and the rest of the automotive space. Using Brinkman's outlook, Quigg concludes that sentiment is at a precarious position right now and warns that some widely held bullish arguments are on the cusp of rolling over. He said, "We believe the market may be underpricing the potential significance of the Model 3 production release, which we expect in early April, and thus recommend investors consider selling calendar put spreads to take advantage of the term structure kink." In the end, according to data compiled by the financial analytics firm S3 Partners, it's somewhat surprising that traders don't seem to be particularly worried about the April production update, considering Tesla's stock has for quite some time been the most shorted in the US market. Of course, it just goes to show that despite overarching caution, there are still money-making, and possibly money-saving, opportunities for traders willing to look deeper, with JPMorgan's help. Tesla's stock is up 12% over the past year but has slipped more than 5% so far in 2018.
Electric cars are only going to get more popular as the costs fall and the benefits of emission-free vehicles becomes ever clearer. The batteries that power these vehicles need replacing every few years, but that doesn't mean they are rendered useless, so Nissan decided to repurpose them for outdoor lighting. Nissan needed to do something with the old batteries coming out of its Leaf electric cars. These batteries still work, just not well enough anymore for power-hungry vehicles. So the Japanese company came up with a new street light design that works off-grid. Working with its subsidiary 4R Energy Corporation, Nissan designed a new type of outdoor light that doesn't require a connection to the main power grid. It's simply a light, an old Leaf battery, and a solar panel, and it's called the Reborn Light Project. During the day a solar panel generates power which is then stored in the Leaf battery. At night, you get free light. A prototype of the light is being tested this week in the Japanese town of Nami, which is still recovering from the 2011 earthquake and tsunami that hit the region. Once proven to work, Nissan intends a full-scale installation for the town beginning before the end of the financial year. such projects are a relatively easy way to reuse components while continuing to reduce emissions. As the number of electric vehicles on our roads increases, so can the number of projects that reuse the batteries. If successful, Nissan's The Reborn Light project could ultimately see all of Japan's street lights replaced with off-grid alternatives. Imagine the energy that would save every year.
Subaru is going to take the wraps off the 2019 Subaru Forester this Wednesday at the New York Auto Show, but to get us ready, Subaru has released another teaser of the new crossover. Unfortunately, the second teaser shows off the 2019 Forester's taillights like the first one, but at least this latest teaser is a little clearer. While the teaser reveals the new C-shaped taillights, overall don't expect a big change for the 2019 Forester. Its styling is expected to stay pretty close to the current model, but at least under the skin there will be some bigger changes. Subaru hasn't said much about the 2019 Forester, but it is expected to be based on the new Subaru Global platform, which is also used by the latest Impreza and Crosstrek. We'll find out what will power the 2019 Forester on Wednesday, but let's hope that the 2019 Ascent's new 260 horsepower 2.4L turbocharged four-cylinder is on the options list.
Now that the Tesla Model 3 is getting into the hands of the general public, outlets including Consumer Reports, Edmunds and Strategy Analytics have taken delivery and published their impressions. Driving dynamics and handling were among their consistent pros, while some of the commonly cited cons have had to do with poor build quality and problems with so many of the car's controls being tied to its touchscreen. Here's a roundup of some of the first Model 3 reviewers' impressions. Consumer Reports gave the Model 3 a fairly positive first drive review. While the publication's last Model S had some issues with the fit of trim pieces, the magazine said that the Model 3's interior felt solid and that it hadn't yet noticed any squeaks, rattles or misalignments. Jake Fisher, director of auto testing at Consumer Reports, said in a phone interview, "It's honestly more like driving a Porsche Boxster than a typical luxury sedan. It's really fun and engaging to drive. The experience for rear passengers isn't as great." Fisher said that the Model 3's back seats sink close to the ground and are uncomfortable. The Model 3's 15-inch center screen has an impressive level of capability and functionality, the magazine said, but it's packed with menus and drivers are forced to use it in ways that don't always make sense, such as to adjust the car's adaptive cruise control speed. Edmunds had a similar take on the touchscreen, praising its clean and futuristic looks, while lamenting that its ease of use isn't as stellar. The car shopping researcher said the Model 3 was dramatically quicker and more engaging to drive than other popular EVs, such as the BMW i3 and the Chevrolet Bolt. It was harsher on how well the sedan was built, calling its body panel gaps inconsistent and criticizing the cracked vanity mirror and broken driver's seat shell in the car it took home. More worrisome, Edmunds has alerted Tesla's service center about problems it's had getting an appointment, and said new parts have been slow to come in. Dan Edmunds, director of vehicle testing, said in a phone interview, "The fact that Tesla would ship a car that doesn't have everything all worked out is a bit off-putting to me. It feels like the service centers are still staffing up to meet demand, and the service system isn't totally synchronized." Market researcher Strategy Analytics published a review focused on user experience and found that the Model 3's touchscreen is exceptionally difficult to use while driving and posited that it may have been designed for a self-driving future which has yet to arrive. Chris Schreiner, director of the user experience practice, said in an interview, "The Model 3 drove pretty well. It handled very well. Autopilot worked well on it. I didn't really have any issues with performance. But the positioning of the screen is a suboptimal experience for the driver. It's an uncomfortable reach to use, and all of this information like the speedometer and the controls for the windshield wiper are on the screen, which takes some getting used to.